Hello, my friends. Calmness everywhere. A new episode from PixieBits podcast. I hope you are all doing well. Enjoy listening. This struggle has always existed in our lives. It has affected us, ruined some happy moments, saved us from distressing situations, or made us shocked by ourselves and our decisions. Even though the philosophical debate about it is still ongoing, we must take a stance on this war and put an end to it, at least for ourselves. For our ultimate goal here in calmness is to live in harmony with reality. A reality that does not necessarily mean logic and does not necessarily mean pure emotions. Previously, we mentioned a deductive story about Sari, a pseudonym of someone who once wrote in a scientific forum asking about his complete lack of feeling. He described how he felt nothing when he unveiled his bride's face at their wedding, when he held his newborn child in his hands, and when he witnessed a tragic accident involving a neighbor. He admitted that he had no understanding of the emotions that people know and describe. Sari was terrified in his question, but I am sure that some people envy his condition, like a dream they have had many times before. The dream of completely getting rid of emotions and feelings, to possess that immense power in decision-making without being concerned about the sadness or discomfort it may bring to themselves or others. And this dream stems from the fact that some people see themselves as overly emotional and impulsive, unable to control themselves, always ending up in pain, suffering, and loss. Some of us wish to be more rational, to make decisions with absolute ease, without inner conflict between emotions. They wish that their mood remains undisturbed, that it doesn't affect their productivity or their means of livelihood. Like when we witness a sad scene on our way to work, and we carry that sadness with us all day, or when we see a loved one in pain, and we suffer alongside them. In this case, emotions put us in constant danger. As the Irish writer Richard once said, we are under the influence of an invisible magic, grieving with the miserable and rejoicing with the happy. It is impossible for the human heart to be indifferent to what defines humanity. The expressions of happiness and misery themselves draw us into their states. And since happiness can spread from one person to another, it is only logical that sadness can be contagious too. Both are visible and perceptible through the eyes, for the eyes are a window into the heart. This characteristic of human nature has been extensively exploited in today's world. Movies and series have exaggerated the ease of triggering empathy, fear, and emotional responses to achieve high ratings by making the audience absorb the emotions of the protagonist. This marks the cinematic revolution following the classical era of storytelling. What we have discussed confirms an almost universal belief that empathy is a weakness, a means to exploit humans for benefit. Therefore, when some people dream of eliminating their emotions, their dream seems justified and valid. But with one question, perhaps we can open another perspective on this theory. If we take a group of successful businessmen and wealthy individuals, why do people prefer dealing with honest traders? Why do they admire respectable, responsible entrepreneurs and take them as role models? Spinoza said, "Desire is the essence of every individual, the effort a person makes to sustain their existence. And this desire is emotions themselves. A respectable businessman wishes for his legacy to last for decades, for his success story to be recorded in the book of human history. And the same applies to a loyal friend, a kind neighbor, a loving husband, and a compassionate father. They all seek meaning in their existence, knowing that fulfilling their duties alone is not enough to leave a lasting impact." And here lies the paradox. The very idea of duties in social life is dictated by emotions and empathy. Which brings us to the title of our episode today, my friends. What should be dictated by our mind and our heart, not who wins in the battle between reason and emotion. Sari, and those who admire his way of being, just as we admire the idea of invisibility in cartoons, see eliminating emotions in certain situations as a necessity, perhaps even as a heroic trait. For when the mind dictates our actions, it always presents its strongest argument: stability. The strength of rationality is that it is firm and unshaken, based on more solid indicators than the fleeting winds of emotions. How many times have we felt certain that we were with the right person, only for our feelings to fade over time? Our desires and impressions change, as if our hearts have undergone a mysterious transformation. That is when the mind tells us, "I wish you had consulted me first." But in my view, wisdom lies in using reason in its proper domain. Tangible benefits. It should guide us toward logical choices, like investing time in our digital devices wisely, or pursuing a clear, structured goal. But the mind should not interfere with matters of people and desires related to them. It should not rush into quick, impulsive decisions, for we often act with limited experience and make mistakes. We should not impose rationality on friendships or light-hearted moments, for how unbearable it would be to converse with someone who analyzes every word you say, yet never truly feels them. Someone who sees words like a linguistic researcher, rather than experiencing them like a sensitive poet. How many times have you traveled to a country where no one treated you poorly, yet you still felt unwelcome, without knowing exactly why? It's the same difference between someone who plays and someone who possesses the spirit of play, between someone who plays a game logically, thinking strategically about their next move, and someone whose heart and emotions become part of the game itself. Sari, the protagonist of our story, may never feel his own decisions, but he will face a difficult battle with regret. Because in my opinion, regret is a logical process more than it is an emotion. This belief became stronger in me after a personal experience, a test of overcoming regret. For years, regret and I were like roommates, spending long nights in self-reflection. Until one day, I decided to break free. I stopped overthinking the tangible consequences of my actions. I let my instincts and values guide me. Instead of worrying about being taken advantage of, I reframed the question: do I want to do this favor? The more I made emotionally driven choices, the further regret drifted away. Protecting ourselves from the emotional damage of regret lies in understanding the concept of logical loss. I remember reading a quote by Pascal: "Trying to explain everything logically and scientifically is still an unattainable dream. For science is of no use to man when disaster strikes. Pure logic may be the trump card of reason, but it is ill-suited for social life." And so, my friends, what reason should dictate to us is to trust our emotions more. And when reason and emotion conflict, we should follow what makes us feel at peace, even if it sometimes hurts. For logical regret is far more painful. Thank you for listening. See you in the next episode. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to receive notifications about new episodes. Goodbye.